Hello, bonjour, Agathe Mathieu here. Oh, let me just, I'm gonna fix this a little bit. Oh, that's good. Agathe Mathieu here. Welcome, welcome. I am a living cuisine chef, which is raw food. You might know it as being called raw food. I prefer to use living cuisine chef. It sounds more delicious. And before I continue, I want to say a huge thank you to Win-Win Women TV, to Paula, who has created this amazing opportunity for us to share our knowledge with all of you. It's beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So living cuisine has been my lifestyle for 19 years. And I've been free of health issues and challenges for 19 years too. As you can see, arthritis, you can see my hands, excess weight, eye floaters, rosacea, all those things that you wish you wouldn't have in your life. I've been free of that for 19 years. It has never come back since the day I switched to that lifestyle. It took a week before the inflammation would be reduced in my hands and I could close my fingers. Because as you know, when you have rheumatoid arthritis, your fingers become so swollen that you just can't close them. It stops. There's no room. You can't do that. It's painful. It's awful. And excess weight, well, I used to have an omnivore diet. I was brought up in Quebec, Canada. My mother, amazing cook. My grand aunt lived with us, amazing cook. So I had all this wonderful, amazing, rich food and lots of butter and cream. And so just looking at the cake, I would gain a pound, it seems like. I was always battling with weight. And then and now that I eat this way, I eat whatever I want and my body eliminates. So the body knows what to do with that sort of food. Definitely, it just eliminates what it's not, doesn't need to be kept. And also it doesn't need to hold on to so much because there's so many nutrients in that food that it's not keeping to, no, keep on asking for more food, because if you keep eating, you're just not fed. Your body is looking for nutrients, your microbiome, that is. And I have quite a few shows on that. You can go back and look into that and find out more. And then today, oh my gosh, let me tell you that today's topic it just inspired me even more to keep on my lifestyle, even though I'm not changing. As you can see, it's 19 years. I'm not changing this. I have so many wonderful and fantastic results. There's no reason to change that. But vegan living cuisine definitely contributes to our health in more ways than I knew of until today. It's just pretty amazing. So I've been quite curious to read and to listen and to follow functional doctors. So if you have heard that term maybe before, functional doctors are they have they're doctors. They study to be doctors, but they turn to be functional, as in incorporating more of the holistic and food, and rather than going for drugs and pharmaceutical. So they will use that as well, but they really look into first, what is it that you're eating, which is smart, isn't it? Don't we water our plant and gas up our car, not the other way around? Imagine water our car and gas up our plants, but sometimes we do that to our body. So it is very important to look at what you put in your body and what it contributes to your health. So there you go. This week I was listening to Dr. Furman, last week actually. Dr. Furman's, there was a video on breaking free from food addiction. And it was fascinating what he said. He mentioned how processed food, fast food, mass-produced food are like a drug. Basically, you can think of that food and, equal drug. That's basically what it is, because when a high concentration, he says, open quote, when a high concentration of calories surge into the bloodstream, those calories have a biological effect, particularly on our brain. High caloric foods have the highest concentration in fat, sugar, and oil, and stimulate our dopamine receptors in our brain, which then create a craving for that food. Close the quote. So that's Dr. Furman. Brilliant man. I mean, look him up on the internet. Brilliant man. He offers many recipes too. It's cooked. I mean, oh, well, he's got some raw food, but he's got both. Let's just put it this way. But yeah, visit his website. It's brilliant. What is, it's all healthy. And that's the other thing is what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to take on drugs, certain pharmaceutical. I'm not telling you to buy packets of powder and eat that way. It's food. It's food that comes from your garden, and that's also what he's teaching. So he's mentioned of fast food being similar to drug. It triggered researching on the effect of drugs on our brain. That's what he did. I went like, oh, if it's like drug, let's just see what I can find on the internet about drug. Oh, and let me tell you what I found explains a lot of the ever-growing number of our population struggling with excess weight and various health challenges that comes along with that, of course, and addiction to what create that excess weight. Like they seem to be struggling and not being able to, lose the weight or stopping to gain more weight. So, and my findings might do the trick for you and you or your loved one to eliminate certain foods from your grocery list, as well as fast food restaurants. You might want to limit your visits there, and you'll understand too why you might want to just not visit them at all for a bit. Let's dig in. So cocaine, for example, causes a wild firing of neurons that produce dopamine. So that's what happens when you take cocaine. It's like, and then it creates that surge and of dopamine in your brain, and then your brain starts to assess what's going on. The combination of fat, sugar, and salt, now we're talking food, also cause a wild firing of neutrons that produce dopamine. So you see where I'm putting the two together, just like Dr. Fuhrman said, it's a drug. Fast food is a drug. Food that is highly processed is a drug. That's why. So, and this is known and exploited by the food industry. Look, they know that. I mean, they have people, they have a team of specialists that are studying the craveability of the food and to create that surge of dopamine. And that explains why, you see yourself opening a bag of chips and you eat it all, and cookies and you eat it all, and wanting to go back to that place and get instead of a 8 or 16 ounce, you're looking for a 20 ounce drink. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's that craveability. And I mean, they are corporations. So they're looking at how they can make more money, not so much at how they can keep you healthy. That's not their main goal. Their main goal is for you to buy and to increase that you buy, and to increase also your loyalty to the brand, that you come back and you definitely want to have this one again and again and again. They do those tricks on you. They increase that craveability. So they are basically turning that food into a drug. Scary, isn't it? That makes you think twice. Do you really want to keep eating that and keep going to that place that isn't so good for you? So the tobacco industry, for example, well, it lost market share. I mean, people have, stopped smoking. I was one of them. Yes, I did smoke. I was one of them. And I stopped. And like so many have. I mean, before you would walk on the street and see people with cigarettes quite often, and now it's rare. It's almost like, you just look at them like, what? People are still smoking? So what did they do? They turned around and they bought food companies. And they applied the very same principle to the food companies, like the products that those companies had that they bought, to apply that very same principle that they knew very well of, the craveability. So in the cigarette, they brought up the nicotine as much as they could, and to create that addiction, which certainly did, even though, I mean, when I think back, I mean, smoking was, after that, you were left with such an awful taste in your mouth. The ashtray smelled like, oh my goodness, how on earth did I do that? Oh, and then when you're hooked, there you go, you're stuck. And so they did apply the very same thing to food. And I mean, it's even for children, I have even a hard time to say it to you, but even children are paying the price for them to have success with that product. So it doesn't stop, like, they're aiming, I mean, they're going after children. And then, like when you go in groceries as well, when you walk by or you go to the till, it's like, oh no, you're dreading that time of all the things by the till there that are not healthy one bit, food color, and it's like bright red, bright yellow. And what do the children say? Mom, I want to have that. And it's so bad for them. So yeah, they just they just do that. Like I said, that corporation there, they're going for their the bottom line, which is to make more money. And think for a second how the bag of chips have gotten so much bigger. The soft drink, as I was saying earlier, 20 ounces. The enticing packaging that they have for their products, with the ingredient list that has become harder to find on the packaging, even though it's much bigger, harder to read, because it's so much smaller now to read, and to understand certain words. Have you noticed that? Like the list, of course, has gotten so long, and then they made it so small. So, it's somewhere on the packaging, but then it's got all those words that you don't understand what are they? What are they? So did you know that there was 150 word for processed sugar? That's a drug. 150 words. And that's what they do as well. So they don't call it sugar. They call it something else, but it's sugar. And processed sugar is a drug. So I'm going to read something to you that I took off of websites. So it's literally what's on the website. Every time I say drug, think of your mind of that unhealthy food or drink that you daily enjoy. Think of that. You might have that, you might not. Hey, you might eat super healthy and you have none of that, right? No coffee, right? No donuts, right? No chips. No, you don't have that. So think of those foods that are unhealthy. So when I say drugs, it's the equivalent of those foods. Think of that. So the information I'm about to read is from Stone Ridge, and Stone Ridge is an innovative evidence-based therapy center in Arizona for desintoxication. There you go. So it says there, how long does it take the brain to recover from addiction? Because it can. So it's a good news. I'm giving you the bad news to start, but there's a good news too. Alcohol and drug have the affect the brain's neurotransmitter and neural pathways. And that's what I was saying to you earlier. The surge to create more dopamine, that's what it does. So you eat the food, it goes into your bloodstream, goes to your brain, and bam, it does the damage. And at the same time, the brain strives to maintain balance, because your brain is looking after you. To not your mind. Your mind sometimes tells you stories, but your brain is looking after you to keep you alive. So it's always looking for maintaining the balance, of course. And as a result, when drugs and alcohol change the brain's chemistry, the brain adapts. So, it's looking at ways to, again, adapt to keep us breathing and blood circulating and, and the body keep functioning, right? Well, once the adaptation becomes the norm, and that is that you eat a lot, you drink a lot, you do it on a regular basis, all those things that are not good for you, the brain will want to correct an imbalance when the drug is no longer present by taking the drug again. Does that ring a bell to you? Like you just, I don't know, 2 days ago, you just had that wonderful, you like to have donut at that shop. And, you kind of go out for a reason. You go, oh, I might just drive by and get another one, right? So that's your brain that is saying, I really enjoy that. That's dopamine. And it changed, it created a neural connection there that it wants to recreate. The brain wants to recreate that. I really enjoy that. Why don't we have another one? That's what happens. So over time, substance use disorder changes both the brain structure and how it functions. So now you can get stuck with this, right? Because if your brain structure is changed, to actually to want to always have that drug, it's not good news. So the brain uses neural pathways as efficiently as possible, allowing repetitive tasks to become automatic or habitual. So I'm just going to tell you here, what do I do? My automatic or habitual is eating what I eat. So I started 19 years ago. It took a few months to get, really enjoy it and find wonderful recipes. And now it's me. I don't even think of, eating something else, so that my brain is now, it's an automatic in my brain. So you can, see what I mean? So you can reverse that. Let's continue. The frequent use of same circuits embeds them deeper into your brain, making it more difficult to alter their routes. So the longer you wait to correct, the harder it takes. So think of your children. Think of you around children. Don't give them things that are not good for them, because you're creating a bad habits, and they will struggle to get out of it. So imagine dragging a scissor blade across a cardboard along the same line over and over. The groove gets more pronounced, and that's what's happening. So it's harder. It's like, that tractor in the field that always takes the same route. They are like, they are the wheels, right? They don't have to drive the tractor anymore. They can just engage, and then the tractor is just going to stay in those, those little marking in the paths there, and just keep on, following that, because it's been going the same route so often. So fortunately, the brain is more flexible than cardboard. So although adults need more time and effort to change the neural pathways than children do, adults can change their brain. So we can. I did. That's what happened for me. I changed, and then, I turned off the gene for arthritis, and I don't have it anymore, and never came back. So we can. Changing the adult brain is essential for individuals who engage in addictive behaviors. We need to change that addictive behavior of that food. Again, we were saying, even in a high-tech society, humans still behave on the pleasure reward system our early ancestors used for survival. That's our, old brain that is on survival. And so, it's the releasing the dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is an action that the event or emotion is satisfying or pleasurable. So that's what was there in the past, and then at the same time, something that was bad, your brain was registering, I should not get closer to that. So let's imagine them, foraging in the forest, and they ate something, and or they became sick. They didn't touch that again, but they ate something else that was good for them. They kept eating that. So to get more of that good feeling, humans repeat the stimulating action or thought. So the good feeling, there's a key. The good feeling is to be created by something good for you, and then you're good. Totally good. I am. So, and now the information I'm about to read is from the NIH. So that one says, how does dopamine reinforces drug use? Drug as in that food I was talking about. Again, think of drug as that food that is not so good for you. The feeling of pleasure is how a healthy brain identifies and reinforces beneficial behaviors such as eating and socializing. Our brain are wired to increase the odds that we will repeat pleasurable activities. The neurotransmitter dopamine is central to this. So if you feed your brain with good, healthy, your brain will keep asking for that good, healthy food. If you feed your brain with fast food, with what, is, well, as you know, fast food, let me just do an aside here. When you eat healthy food, your red blood cells have a negative charge, and they bounce against each other. When you eat acidic food, which is fast food, they clump together, and now they don't bounce anymore. And you don't bounce either. You become lethargic and fatigued, and so that's what's happening. Whenever the reward circuit is activated by a healthy, pleasurable experience, a burst of dopamine signals that something important is happening and that needs to be remembered. That's how you can switch a bad habit with a good habit. That's why if you do it long enough, like at 30 days, 21 days, they say, but just do it for a month. It's easy. A month calendar. You start on that date, you go all the way to that date. And then you change an habit that way. You really do. That's what they're saying here. So you remember a good habit, and eventually that's the groove that you go in. The other groove is gone. This dopamine signal causes changes in the neural connectivity that make it easier to repeat the activity again and again without thinking about it, leading to the formation of habits. I don't think about it. I don't even think. I mean, what I think is when my friends say, oh, let's go to this place, my first thought is, do they have what I need? If they don't have what I need, I'll bring my picnic. I won't have their food. A surge of dopamine powerfully reinforces the connection between consumption of the drug, food that isn't bad, is bad for you, and the resulting pleasure and all the external cues linked to the experience. So that's the other key, is when you're looking at changing your habits that are not so good for you, don't drive by that restaurant that is offering fast food that isn't good for you. Don't hang out with a friend, don't go to a restaurant with a friend that is eating, bad food. Go for a walk, go in nature, do another activity, that doesn't, it's not like you love being with that friend. So I don't say don't go with your friend. So you're with that friend, but do something else that isn't around food, because his or her food choices are not supporting your new lifestyle, right? So just don't do that. And then you become strong enough that, you can go with them and have a salad there at that restaurant and it doesn't bother you one bit. You don't even want to have that dressing because it's full of sugar and oil. You just, take the salad as is, and you totally enjoy it. So you enjoy that presence, and then, you stick with what, your food is good to eat. And a large surge of dopamine teaches the brain to seek drugs at the expense of other healthier goals of activities. So there you go. So you can search dopamine with good food. Doesn't always have to be bad food. That's how you change. You see where I'm going? And cues in a person's daily routine or environment that have become linked with drugs use, it changes the reward circuit. It can trigger uncontrollable craving. Like people know, I mean, they look at their waistline, they go, I'm getting bigger and bigger, but they keep eating anything and getting bigger and bigger. And that's what it is. So again, choose something that will create that same pleasure, but that is healthy for you. So what else can I tell you here about that? It's on the again, it's on the NIH. The NIH stands for, I'm just going to go back and look, National Institute of Health. So you can find that information there. So again, what I was telling about is the fast food, the sweets, the snacks. There's also a talk on level 1, 2, 3, 4 food, and level 1 is the food that I'm suggesting for you to eat. That's the one that is healthy. That's the one that now at 64 years old, I feel like 40. That's the one that all my issues, challenges with my health has been resolved. And my children at the time, and my husband that I was with at the time. It's a pharmacy. It's like your unique pharmacy. Your microbiome has what it needs to keep you healthy. You give them the right nutrients, it performs all the, it's magic. It's literally magic. I never thought I would get rid of arthritis. Imagine that. They say you can't. I did. So read the ingredients on all the products that you have, or, before you buy. That are sold in boxes, in cans, in bags, ready to eat, frozen meals, all of those. Read the ingredients. Stick with the artisans that are local. They use less of that, but still, again, same thing. Keep reading, keep educating yourself. Don't put in your mouth what you know is not good for you. Don't put in your mouth a drug that is, creating that bad addiction, and then you struggle with. If you don't start, then you don't have to break the addiction, right? And if you have started, then you can reverse it as well and stick with the program that will keep you healthy. There is something from Bill Maher, and I found that on the Instagram. I'll see if I can find this again and post it on my Instagram. It was just brilliant. He says, when consumers know things, they tend to make informed choices, and that could affect corporate profits. And that explains why corporations don't give you all the bad side effects We should have that, like there is medication, right? Like they used to be on the pack of cigarette, the bad effects, the adverse effects. We should have that on some of the food. So it's time to clean up your cupboards, isn't it? Just do that. Just clean up your cupboards. Take out all the things that are not so good. Look around what you can find that has, the least of all those fat, salt, and sugar. Food that is sweetened with dates and that has no oil or little as possible, little salt as possible, because your health destiny is in your own hands. It literally is. Come on, what brings food to your mouth? It's your hands, right? It's your hands that go and grab whatever at the grocery. It's you with your own hands. So you have that power to change things. Let me show you now. I will share my screen so you can see my website and go on my website. Let me just see. I'm going to share my screen. And here it is. Beautiful. So you can see here, this is my website, Healing Vegan Cuisine. And you have the address, healingvegancuisine.com. The message, you can leave me a message. Send me any questions you might have. Let me show you something else that is pretty awesome. So when you send me a message, I have your email address. Then I can send you my ebook. And in my ebook, you have what is living cuisine, this is soaking and sprouting, tricks on getting your vegetables ready. I talk about the microbiome and all sorts of great information. And you also have recipes, and then that are my recipes have no flour. So we're talking about processed food. No flour, very little oil. I sweeten with dates, and I use very little sugar. Salt. Very little salt. So that's that means, so you'll find on the recipes that I offer, and that explains the way I feel, right? So you'll find a wealth of good recipes and yeah, good for you all the way, like 100%, no doubt. All right, now let me show you something else. I have something else to share with you, and I will show you my website so you can see what you can find there. So this is my website. There is, of course, a video here at first that tells you about my journey. And then here's what you learn. All my recipes, they're step-by-step, easy to follow. And look, I had staff for so long that, the industry, they come and go because, yeah, just, it's an industry that is hard to stay in. The pay isn't that high. So I had to find ways to make them or help them do recipes, and they would be successful all the time. And here you can see just wonderful selection, so much variety of what you can eat. I don't eat only carrots, like some people would tease me. Oh, Agathe, you're easy to have as a guest. We'll just give you a carrot. Don't worry, I bring my food. So I'm not stuck with eating only carrots, but they're like beautiful food. And as I said, any desserts you see is all sweetened with dates, so no processed sugar. And here you have, so it's pretty cool. The course is all in section. You can buy the entire collection. So all the breakfast, the sweets, the snacks, the entrees. But you can also say, well, I'm going to start with breakfast only. And that's a good idea. Like you start with one, you stick to it, and you'll see it's amazing the results you get. And then there are the snacks, and then there are the entrees, as I was saying, the sweets. Which are, you can have, it can be your breakfast here. It's made with superfood and fruits. It's just delicious, the collection. This one here is a cake that is a free cake. So again, you can go on my website and you get that free recipe here. So you can get addicted to that. It's raw cacao powder and dates, and it's all good stuff. You can totally get addicted to that. My discovery call, so you can book a 30 minutes and we can chat for the possibilities for you. And I do coaching as well. You have wonderful here, the reviews, amazing what people have said, very touching. And then of course my courses are 30-day guarantee. Leave me a message. Here you have all my social media. You can see many photos and many more of little information, just like I did today. And educate yourself. Educate yourself. Find out for yourself what what is healthy and what is healthier. and all of that. So again, you have your own health destiny in your hands, and I wish for you all the best. And that I will see you next week. I'll be there every week at the same time with more information. All the best. Stay well. Oh, c'est une belle photo, ça. Yes.